Hey y'all, it's Michael and I'm here today to walk you through how to start your very own backyard composter. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is the things that you should put into your composter to get the digestion process going and nice and balanced. Sorry, my dog is going to be barking a little bit. Okay, so basically there's two main categories of things you can put in your composter. Number one is high nitrogen things, which we call greens. So that's going to be your kitchen scraps, cut grass, I don't know, yeah, anything like that that's wet and has a lot of nitrogen in it. And then the other category is going to be browns, which are high nitrogen, and that might be dried leaves, newspaper, shredded paper, anything like that. So ideally you want a pretty even balance of greens and browns in your composter, preferably with more browns than greens. If you have too much of that like kind of wet, squishy stuff, it's going to take a longer time for your soil to, for your pile to generate the soil you want. And same thing for the other way around. If you have too much browns, you're just going to have a bunch of dead leaves, and that's not super helpful. So let's talk about some of the things that you can put in your composter right here at home. So first of all, any fruit or vegetable scraps like this are great. So I've got orange peel, avocado peel, cucumber that got a little moldy, anything like that is perfect. You want to avoid putting anything that has meat or dairy in it, because that's going to attract animals, especially if your pile's outside, which most people's will be. You also want to avoid putting in pet waste, because most piles, especially residential piles, won't get to a heat that's high enough to kill any pathogens that's in the pet waste. And obviously human waste, no, don't do that. You, however, can put in hair, you can put in nails, you can pull all the hair out of your hairbrush if that's a thing you do. You can compost eggshells, you can compost dried leaves from your backyard, newspaper, junk mail, anything like that. Coffee grounds, coffee filters. You do want to avoid putting in anything that's plastic and won't degrade, so that includes stickers from produce. That's a huge annoyance to a lot of composters, is the stickers. They'll have this great finished compost and there'll be all these little stickers in them that they have to pick out. I'm trying to think of anything else you should not put in there. Bones, oil, anything like that's not good. But you can really compost a lot. I have heard of people who've composted old pairs of jeans and clothes and things like that. So anything that has a root in a biological material, you can pretty much compost. Okay, so let's get started here. So this little is a little countertop composter. Oops. We got it on Amazon. It was probably like $20. It has a lid here that has like a filter on the inside that catches any weird smells. So it sits right on our countertop. It doesn't smell bad. My family's not super pro compost and it doesn't even bother them, so it's good. We probably take it out about once a day. And then here we have this bin, which we also got on Amazon. Here's my dog, Rocket. He's very excited. He likes to compost. So we got this bin, also got it on Amazon, pretty easy to put together. He's actually licking the compost now. That is great. So anyway, you don't need a bin like this. You can even just make a pile in the corner of your yard. My advice to you is, if you live in a suburban residential area, you should get a bin so your neighbors don't complain about it. But if you have more land, it definitely would be easy to just pick a corner of your yard and start throwing stuff in there. My second piece of advice is, if you do an uncovered compost pile, you should have more of that dry brown material, so whether that's cut grass or yard waste, things like that, and then you should bury your kitchen scraps within that pile so it doesn't attract a bunch of animals. We back right up to a forest, and we haven't had much animal concerns from our composter. Okay. So here we go. So it's getting a little warmer, so the bugs are here, which isn't a bad thing. They're just doing their job. You want to come a little closer here? I'll take it for a second and show you the inside. So that's the inside of the composter. You can see some chunks of some of the bigger stuff. You got a melon rind and pineapple and stuff. Thank you. And then all you're going to do is you're just going to dump it right in there. Most of the time I have to end up spraying this out because we put coffee grounds in there and they get stuck to the bottom. But then I've got a shovel, which my dog has just been licking. And basically you're gonna wanna turn the compost, so get in there and chop it up and turn it over. And what this is doing is it's letting air into the compost pile so that the bacteria that are breaking down the fruits and vegetables and all these other substances have some air to live on. If you don't stir it up, you're actually going to get worse smells because the decomposition that's occurring in the pile is going to be anaerobic and it's going to release methane and all kinds of gross smells. So the more you turn it, the less bad it will smell. General tips: if you make your pile and it starts smelling bad, you can add more dry stuff, so newspaper, leaves, whatever, and stir it up, and that should absorb some of the gross wetness. So yeah, I stir mine probably like twice a week, and you can do it less in the winter because it's colder outside. The warmer the outside temperature is, the quicker your breakdown is going to be. So do you want to come a little closer here and I'll show the bottom. I'm wondering if this will work. So we have these little doors here that you can just pull up, and you can see in here, look at all the worms we got going, and this is the finished stuff down at the bottom, the soil that you can put right in your garden. You can either put it on top of your garden or bury it within your garden. I like to put it under the soil so it doesn't attract crazy insects, but the hotter your pile gets, the less likely it will be that you'll have worms and stuff like that in there. So if a lot of people who are composting on an industrial scale don't have any kind of insects in there because their piles get so hot as the contents break down. But for a backyard composter, it's not a huge issue. So I've linked a couple of, my dog really likes to lick the compost, so he's doing great. But you can put it in flower pots, you can put it in vegetable gardens, and if you don't have a flower pot or a vegetable garden and you're just looking to reduce your waste, this is a great way to do that. I think something like 30% of waste, residential waste streams is food waste. So when we're thinking about keeping waste out of a landfill, this is a really great way to do it. So even if you don't have something to put it on, you can put it in your lawn, you can put it on your trees. If you don't have any of those, you can look up, there's a lot of local composting co-ops that will come and pick up your compost. I've linked a couple in the description in the bio for services that you can just take your bucket like this and put it on your doorstep and someone will come and pick it up and compost it. Most of those have a subscription fee, but it's not too high. And yeah, I've linked a couple articles about how to start your own piles, and I really hope you guys do. It's a great way to spend your time over this quarantine. It's something you can do from home, gets you outside, gets you reducing your waste and feeling a little bit more connected with the waste you produce. I've noticed since we started composting, my family tries to waste less, just so we don't have to take the compost out. The more you waste, the more times you have to take it out during the day, which can be frustrating to people. And I think that's all I have for y'all. So I hope you have a great Earth Day, and we'll see you later.